75 years of adoption of Constitution completed, President Draupadi Murmu addressed the Houses of Parliament. Indian Constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949. Discussion on Global Plastic Treaty intensifies. More than 170 countries gathered in Korea to sign the treaty, raised voice against plastic pollution and environmental protection. Central government takes a big step, approved National Natural Farming Mission. Chemical-free farming will be promoted across the country. Phytoplankton bloom incident in Madagascar. Fastest bloom incident observed in 27 years. Dust from South Africa is being cited as the reason. And One Nation One subscription approved teachers, students to have access to research papers and journal publications from across the world. It will be easy to read. Research and innovation will get a better base in the country. Recently, the President addressed both the houses on the occasion of Constitution Day on the completion of 75 years of the adoption of the Constitution. On this occasion, the President highlighted the historical importance of the Indian Constitution and the strength of Indian democracy and the importance of unity in diversity. Let us tell you that Constitution Day is celebrated every year on 26th November. This day is celebrated to commemorate the adoption of the Constitution of India in 1949. However, the Constitution came into force on 26th January 1950 when India became a republic. At the time of the adoption of the Constitution, it had 395 articles and 8 schedules. At present, it has more than 395 articles and 12 schedules. It is noteworthy that Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is considered the main architect of the Indian Constitution. This is the world's largest written constitution. Its purpose is to ensure justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity for all Indian citizens. For information, let us tell you that the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment had announced to celebrate Constitution Day in 2015. Earlier, this day was celebrated as Law Day. The purpose of celebrating this day is to promote constitutional values among the citizens. Recently, discussions on the Global Plastic Treaty have gained momentum. From 25th November, more than 170 countries gathered in the Republic of Korea for this treaty. This treaty is an international effort to control plastic pollution and make the environment safer. It is noteworthy that the United Nations Environment Assembly agreed to develop such a treaty by the end of 2024. It is significant that marine pollution is also included in this treaty. The aim of the treaty is to reduce plastic production and use. It will promote recycling and proper management of plastic waste. Additionally, it will encourage governments and industries to adopt sustainable alternatives. Plastic pollution has become a global issue. Around 400 million tons of plastic are produced every year, with a large part ending up in the oceans and the environment. According to a report by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, plastic production is expected to reach 700 metric tons by 2040. Plastic is made through polymerization or polycondensation processes from natural substances such as cellulose, coal, crude oil, etc. The United Nations Environment Assembly is the UN's highest-level environmental policy-making body. It provides a platform for countries to create global consensus on environmental issues and take concrete steps. It was established after the Rio +20 conference in 2012. The main aim of the Assembly is to promote sustainable development, combat climate change, and develop policies for environmental protection. Recently, the Union Cabinet has approved the National Mission on Natural Farming with a financial allocation of Rs 2,481 crore. The objective of this mission is to promote chemical-free farming across the country so that farmers can be economically empowered and environmental imbalance can be prevented. Under this scheme, farmers will be trained to adopt natural agricultural practices and they will also be provided with necessary resources. Let us tell you that natural farming is an organic farming method. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides are not used in this method. Instead, organic manure, cow urine, vermicompost, and other natural resources are used. Its main objective is to maintain soil fertility and promote biodiversity. In this method, mixed farming of different crops is done, which maintains environmental balance and production remains stable. It is noteworthy that the products produced from natural farming are more healthy because there is no place for chemicals in it. Apart from this method is more profitable for the farmers at a lower cost, which improves their economic condition. Also, this method is beneficial from the environmental point of view as it helps in reducing water, soil, and air pollution. Recently, a phytoplankton bloom event has been reported in southeastern Madagascar, described as the most significant occurrence in nearly 27 years. A study has identified that the cause of this bloom was dust from the drought-stricken regions of southern Africa. Phytoplankton blooms are natural phenomena where the population of microscopic aquatic plants increases rapidly due to an excess of nutrients in the water. This process is accelerated by the flow of nutrients like nitrates and phosphates. Additionally, warm temperatures and adequate sunlight also create favorable conditions for phytoplankton growth. While these blooms play a vital role in marine ecosystems, excessive growth can lead to oxygen depletion in water, creating dead zones, which can endanger aquatic life. In some cases, these blooms turn toxic, leading to the death of fish and other marine life. Phytoplankton are tiny plants that play an essential role in marine ecology. Similar to land plants, they use sunlight for photosynthesis, converting carbon dioxide into oxygen. This makes them crucial for both marine life and atmospheric balance. Phytoplankton are also primary producers in the marine food web, serving as a major food source for small marine organisms like zooplankton. The annual conference of the Global Cooperatives Alliance was recently inaugurated in India. The event was held in Delhi from 25th to 30th November. Notably, Bhutan promoted its Gelefu project at the conference, highlighting it as a major cooperative venture. The Global Cooperatives Alliance is an international organization that provides a platform for cooperative organizations from various countries to share experiences, strategies, and resources. The aim of GCA is to promote the principles of cooperation, generating new opportunities for development, especially for small traders, farmers, and the underprivileged. Gelefu is Bhutan's largest cooperative initiative. Located in the southern part of Bhutan, Gelefu is being developed as a zero-carbon emission city spanning 2,500 square kilometers. The project is a collaborative effort between Bhutan's government and local communities. Today, Gelefu has emerged as an important commercial and agricultural hub. Several cooperative initiatives in agriculture, dairy, and handicrafts are being promoted in Gelefu, strengthening the local economy. Recently, the Ministry of Science and Technology officially launched India's first indigenous antibiotic, nephithromycin. It is India's first domestically developed antibiotic designed to treat antimicrobial resistance. It has been developed in collaboration with the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. It will be available in the market under the name Micnaf. Nephithromycin has been designed to treat community-acquired bacterial pneumonia, a serious illness caused by drug-resistant bacteria. This disease primarily affects vulnerable individuals, including children, the elderly, and patients with conditions such as diabetes and cancer. It is said that a 3-day course of nephithromycin will play a crucial role in combating drug-resistant pneumonia. According to statistics, this disease leads to the death of over 2 million people globally every year, with India bearing 23% of the global pneumonia burden. Nephithromycin has been found to be 10 times more effective than azithromycin in clinical trials, offering significantly better results with just a 3-day dosage. Recently, an archaeological discovery was made in Kerala where 24 pairs of prehistoric footprints and a human figure were found carved into a rock on private property. Experts believe these carvings are from the megalithic period, offering a glimpse of ancient culture. It is estimated that these carvings are over 2000 years old. The footprints are believed to symbolize the souls of the deceased, created as a tribute to honor them. However, local residents interpret them as symbols of the goddess. Notably, these carvings bear resemblance to prehistoric rock art found in the Udupi district of Karnataka, specifically in Avalakkipeda. This discovery also aligns with previous prehistoric findings in Kerala, which include temple decorations at Erikulam Valiyapura, a running tiger near Bangalam in Nileshwaram, human figures at Chimeni, Ariyatapara, bull figures at Etupuduka in Kannur, and carvings in the Edakal caves in Wayanad. For context, the megalithic culture is an ancient cultural tradition that involved the creation of structures using large stones known as megalith. They were often used for tombs, religious sites, or memorials. The tradition is found across many regions, including parts of India, Europe, and Asia. Recently, the Union Cabinet has approved the One Nation One Subscription scheme. The objective of this scheme is to ensure access to research papers and journal publications across the country. This is a central sector initiative which will provide access to a vast collection of high-quality research articles and journal publications across the country. Through this scheme, educational and scientific knowledge will be democratized so that a better base can be created for research and innovation across the country. For this initiative, the government has allocated Rs 6,000 crore for 3 years. The budget is in line with the goals of Viksit Bharat 2047, National Education Policy 2020, and Anusandhan National Research Foundation. 1.8 crore students, faculty, researchers, and scientists will benefit from the availability of quality educational journals. It is noteworthy that a total of 30 major international journal publishers have been included in the One Nation One Subscription scheme. Access to these journals will be provided through a national subscription coordinated by the Information and Library Network. It is noteworthy that the Higher Education Department will have an integrated portal, One Nation One Subscription, through which institutions will be able to access the journals. Recently, the West Godavari district was awarded the GI tag certificate for Narsapur crochet lace. The district collector of West Godavari received this certificate on behalf of the district. This certificate recognizes the historical significance of the local artisans and Narsapur crochet lace. Narsapur crochet lace is an ancient traditional craft of the Narsapur region in West Godavari district. The GI tag will boost the production and marketing of this handicraft. Narsapur crochet lace is a type of lace that is primarily handmade by women. It is mainly used for decorating saris, dupattas, bedspreads, and other garments. This craft uses cotton threads which are natural and durable. It is noteworthy that a GI tag is a type of geographical indicator that protects products associated with a specific geographical region. This tag also promotes the identity and culture of the local communities. Its purpose is to ensure the product's quality, fame, and uniqueness. GI tag products are legally protected, ensuring that no other person can use the name of the product. The marketing of GI tagged products improves as it guarantees quality to consumers. In India, the process and registration of the GI tag are carried out by the Geographical Indications Registry Office. Recently, the Jal Shakti Minister digitally launched the Bhu Neer portal. The aim of this portal is to promote transparency, efficiency, and sustainability in groundwater use across the country. It will work to improve groundwater management. It has been developed by a joint effort of the National Informatics Center and the Central Groundwater Authority. Let us tell you that Bhu Neer is a centralized portal. Its purpose is to simplify the permit process and make it easier to comply with groundwater rules. Some new technologies have been used in it. These include PAN-based single ID system, user-friendly interface, and QR-coded no objection certificate. Due to these features, this process becomes completely digital and faceless. At the same time, detailed information will also be given on groundwater policies, legal framework, and sustainable systems in this portal. This information will serve as an important resource for project supporters and stakeholders so that they can use groundwater in the right manner and take steps towards water conservation. So that's all for now in this bulletin. After the news, let's take a quick look at 5 questions related to the bulletin. Questions based on today's bulletin are: first question is, consider the following statements with respect to Constitution Day. 1. This day is celebrated every year on 26th November. 2. This day is celebrated to mark the adoption of the Constitution. 3. Previously, this day was celebrated as Law Day. How many of the above statements are incorrect? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Next question, consider the following statements with respect to the United Nations Environment Assembly. 1. It is the highest decision-making body of the United Nations Environment Programme. 2. It was established in 2010 and its headquarters are located in Nairobi. 3. It discusses and makes decisions on environmental policies and development. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Next question, consider the following statements with respect to phytoplankton. 1. They are microscopic marine algae. 2. They are incapable of performing photosynthesis. 3. They have the ability to absorb carbon dioxide. How many of the above statements are incorrect? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Next question, consider the following statements with respect to nephithromycin. 1. It is India's first indigenously developed antibiotic. 2. It will be used to treat antimicrobial resistance. 3. It is designed for the treatment of pneumonia. How many of the above statements are incorrect? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Last question, consider the following statements with respect to Bhuneer. 1. It is a centralized portal. 2. It will work to improve groundwater management. 3. It was developed with ISRO's collaboration. How many of the above statements are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, or none of these? Recently, the central government has approved the continuation of Atal Innovation Mission till 31st March 2028. Along with this, the scope of its work has been increased and a budget of Rs 2,750 crore has been allocated for it. This extended tenure has been named Atal Innovation Mission 2.0. At the same time, its expansion will increase the number of innovation hubs, labs, and centers operated by Atal Innovation Mission 1.0. This step becomes important to promote startups and entrepreneurship. It will make it easier for Indian youth to innovate. This initiative will coordinate with other initiatives of the government like Digital India and Make in India. Let us tell you that India is ranked 39th in the Global Innovation Index 2024 and is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. Recently, the Indian Army organized Chinar Boat Race 2024 in Dal Lake. It was organized in collaboration with White Globe NGO and Lake Conservation and Management Authority. Its organization showcases the athletic ability and competitive spirit of the participants. It also highlights the importance of conservation of water bodies of Kashmir. Dal Lake is one of the famous freshwater lakes of India located in Srinagar. This lake is known for its natural beauty, houseboats, shikara, and picturesque environment. It is called the jewel in the crown of Kashmir or the jewel of Srinagar. Recently, a 4,400-year-old alphabet has been discovered in Syria. This suggests that the beginning of writing and communication in human civilization may be much older. This discovery is historically important as it helps in understanding the way of writing and communication of ancient civilization. This discovery challenges earlier beliefs that the alphabet originated only in Egypt. Now it is becoming clear that ancient civilizations in Syria or its surrounding areas also used writing. Recently, National Milk Day 2024 was celebrated. This day is celebrated every year on 26th November. The theme of National Milk Day this year is Transformation Daring with AI and IT. The purpose of celebrating this day is to encourage citizens involved in dairy production. The prestigious National Gopal Ratna Awards will also be given on this day. Let us tell you that National Milk Day is celebrated on 26 November to commemorate the birth anniversary of Dr. Verghese Kurian. He led the world's widest agricultural program, Operation Flood in India, due to which he is called the father of White Revolution. Recently, the 12th International Tourism Mart was launched by the Union Ministry of Tourism. It will be organized from 26th to 29th November in Kaziranga National Park, Assam. It is noteworthy that this annual event is being organized under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiative. Its objective is to introduce the tourism potential of the northeastern region and to enhance cooperation between stakeholders related to domestic and international tourism. During this, the cultural and natural features of the 8 northeastern states are being showcased. This event focuses on promoting tourism under the ministry's Travel for Life initiative. Recently, the central government approved the PAN 2.0 project. It is noteworthy that this is an e-governance initiative. It aims to redesign taxpayer registration services through technology and promote digital experience for taxpayers. A budget of Rs 1,435 crore has been set for this. It will upgrade the existing PAN 1.0 system and bring together core and non-core activities, including PAN verification services. This is in line with the Digital India vision, with its aim to use PAN as a common identifier in all digital systems of the mentioned government agencies. Recently, the Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways paid tribute to Lachit Borphukan on his 402nd birth anniversary. Let us tell you that the great Ahom military commander Lachit Borphukan was born on 24th November 1622 in Charaideo, Assam. He was adept in the art of guerrilla warfare. He is remembered for his exemplary leadership in the Battle of Sarai Ghat in 1671. Where the Ahoms defeated the Mughal army led by Raja Ram Singh under Aurangzeb. This battle was fought on the Brahmaputra river near Sarai Ghat, and it was the last major attempt by the Mughals to expand their empire in Assam. He died at the age of 49 in Jorhat, Assam. The Riyang community has demanded recognition of their language, Kaubru. It is noteworthy that the Riyang are particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Let us tell you that this group is the second largest tribal community of Indo-Mongoloid ethnic group in Tripura, which is associated with nomadism, jhum farming, and other food collection activities. They are Hindus and their majority population are followers of Vaishnavism. They believe in the existence of the spirits and soul of ancestors. The main part of their culture is Hojagiri dance. This dance is performed only by women in the group of 4 to 6. During the dance event, male members perform arts like singing songs, playing drums.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.